riding along here, doing a little record shopping today. We're here in LA, Lower Alabama that is, and we're gonna see if we can find some records. Well, we're riding down 4-lane here. We've made it to our town. Now let's see if we can find any records. Should be another 2 or 3 miles up here, and we'll be to our first thrift store. There's a half of a car there, Volkswagen in the ground. Interesting diner. We're coming up to our thrift store here, I believe. Yes, there it is. Let's see what we can find inside. We'll wait on these cars first though. Alright. We'll talk to you guys a little later. Hey everybody, here's the haul for this store. You could see as I walked in and came around that corner, there was a ton of records in that big container or piece of furniture. They were just stacked up there all along in front of it, just everywhere. And it looked like they'd been picked through a lot, so there wasn't a lot of popular music, I guess you could say. There wasn't a lot of rock and roll, classic rock, even a lot of country. So but I was able to find some diamonds in the rough, just either curiosities to me, something I recognized, or something I thought I might like. So anyway, here we go. Here's what I found. I found percussion and guitars. Basically, I got this one because it's one of the early ones, Time Life, it looks like. Basically, it's one of those early stereo albums where you kind of hear stuff bounce around, from left to right speaker, trying to demo this, new technology of stereo. And that combined with seeing that Tony Mottola was on it, which was a prominent guitarist in that time period too, and I got a couple of his albums. So I went ahead and got this. It's a gatefold. There's a little history of it in here, kind of the set list and everything back here. A few old jazz standards. There's the vinyl. It's very clean. Next I found this, I guess it's pronounced Ollie Thompson. The blue really stuck out to me. This interesting scenery here on the front to start with. The name seemed somewhat familiar, so I did a little bit of digging and found out that he is Doug Thompson's brother, the guy from Supertramp. So I thought that was interesting. This is more like pop rock music, and but it was pretty interesting. I hadn't heard anything like it before, and it's made nice music kind of play in the background while I was doing some straightening up around here. So, and very interesting artwork. I'm kind of a sucker for that one. Next, George Carlin. Everybody knows George Carlin, so I got maybe one or two of his other albums. I always appreciated his work. He always made you think. That was always interesting to me, is that in his bits he always was doing some kind of, especially in his later years, social commentary, that really made you have to think, and I love thinking comedy, let's put it that way. And this was a good older album. It had a few classics on it, like Wonderful Wino, and the vinyl looked very clean in there. A little dusty or smudgy, but there ain't no scratches, not even hardly surface scratches. So that was a kind of a nice pickup for me. This was, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. He is a Japanese artist, and he was famous for doing his classical. It's basically classical in the style of synthetic music, or synthesizers, I should say. It is Tomita. This is his album. So I thought it was interesting. It caught my eye, and so I picked it up. I had recognized a few of those artists after buying a different album that was similar, and I decided to pick it up and see what it was like too. There's the rear of it. It's almost like the front. And that's interesting so far. It does have that traditional classical feel, but with synthesizers instead of, stringed instruments or piano. So it's a very unusual twist, but it has that classical feel and vibe, chord progression, timing, kind of laid back. Very interesting. If you like that kind of stuff, maybe check it out. You might not. This one I was kind of proud to find too, because of the condition, if nothing else. Not super valuable, but this is Lou Rawls with Les McCain. It starts out with Stormy Monday, the bluesier, the jazzier version, I should say, than the later blues version that they all covered. But Lou Rawls has an amazing voice, and what I found interesting about this one, and I confirmed my suspicions when I first saw it. I looked it up on Discogs. This is his very first album, and this is an original pressing. that still has shrink wrap on it. It's opened, of course, but it's still, no one ever removed the shrink from the cover, so you have perfectly intact spine, everything, you know. And I just thought it was such a rarity from a 60s album that I'd go ahead and pick it up. And as you would expect, because of that, the vinyl was perfect too. It looks brand new. I just played side one, and there's like no noise. You might as well be listening to a CD, or better, a record. So I like this because I recognize Lou, and like I said, it's still in shrink. Record almost looked brand new, and it's pressed in the 60s. Now, this is the mono pressing too of it, because I see it says also available in stereo, and it has down here, this monophonic microgroove recording is playable on microphonic stereo phonographs. So usually they give you that disclaimer on the monos. Cool find. And the last one I found here, you've seen in the video that there was about 50 of these, and I couldn't figure out why. I was like, I figured it was somebody, you know, maybe semi-famous or not famous, you know, that cut a record and had several, you know, and probably had them in his house or something. And so I got to digging around, and pretty much that was the case. This is Leo Suter, I think is how you pronounce it, maybe. It's some old country. It has some originals on it by a guy who actually produced the album, which is Chris Goldring. Wrote about 3 or 4 of these. And the others are like covers, like Tonight the Bottle Let Me Down, Mountain Music, and a couple like that. And so I did some research on him. If you punch his name in, you find his obituary just from a couple years ago. Well, a few, I say 2017. And he was like 92 years old. He was a major in the Army. So he was stationed at Fort Rooker, which is not too far away from where I found this, you know, about 20 miles north in the little town of Ozark is where this little thrift store was. So he was kind of a local guy. He had settled in this area when he retired from the military, and, you know, in retirement kind of had this little bit of a country career, and it's not bad. He's a good vocalist, you know. I wouldn't say like outstanding, not to knock him in or his family or anything. He's a good vocalist, you know. And I got it just to see what it sounded like, and, you know, I was pleasantly surprised that, you know, it's pretty good country music just to kick back and listen to. So interesting find, and it actually was popular enough to already be in Discogs, so I just had to add it. I thought it was going to be one I'd need to take pictures of and all. But it was very clean, as you can see. Looks like it almost never been played. And I think they were used for like promos, all these, even though there's no markings from the small time label, because I found this letter inside. You can see this letter here. And basically, it just says Bright Moon Music, tongue twister. And it's a letter that says, Dear presenter, I have the great pleasure of sending you a copy of this LP produced by me for this company with a great personality, Leo Suter. I hope very much that you will give us airtime. May I particularly bring to your attention the song What Makes Me Dream, written by me with my partner, Mike Samings. And then it goes on to say a little more, and it says, thank you with care, Tex. And at the bottom it says, Chris Tex Goldring. So actually the guy I just mentioned that wrote 2 or 3 of these songs also typed up these letters and sent them out to radio stations. So I went ahead and stuck this back in here. So interesting find, you know, not. So I've seen so many of them. So I gotta pick it up and see what it is. There's tons of them here, and these are pretty cheap. So that was my haul from this video, and so we'll see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe, and let me know if you'd like to see different or any other content I can bring that has to do with, you know, this record hunts, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks, and see you next time.